Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by two of the stars of the amazing Teacup. First off, we got Jackson Kelly. Jackson, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ken.
It's amazing to have you here. Big fan of yours. We also have the absolutely amazing Rob Morgan. Rob, how are you doing today?
Hey, peace, Ken. I'm blessed. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I mean, this is amazing for me because you guys know how to pick them. If you guys are going to be in a TV show, whether it's Stranger Things, whether it's Chucky, you guys know how to pick the right shows to be in. So I'm going to start with you first, Rob. We're talking about Teacup, and this kind of took the world by storm. You guys can check it out on Peacock now if you haven't already. But how did you yourself get involved with the project?
I've auditioned for Meredith Tucker for probably over 20 plus years. And I believe her and Ian were discussing the project, and my name came up miraculously. From what I heard, Ian had already had an idea of me in the project, and they just reached out, and I was super excited.
And it's amazing that they did because, like I said, whether it was this, your small but scene stealing role in Smile, you really know what you're doing when it comes to horror and how to be able to bring people in. And Jackson, with you, like I said, you came into Chucky and you completely stole the show. Everybody was shipping you in that show as well. So, you come here. What do you do to get into character for something like Teacup?
Oh man, well Travis was such a special character. He goes on such a large arc from when you meet him in the bar to where he is in the basement.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like two different characters almost. And so the work for this one was probably the most extensive I've done. And I got a an acting coach I worked with named Harrison James, who's incredible. And it was just, a lot of material. It's the longest episode. And so it was just working on, all the fine details of stuff. Also, the story wasn't linear. So it was just kind of keeping track of everything.
Right. Well, and like you said, when you're trying to play a person that's growing on this journey, you're not just playing one solid character. You have that growth as you move on in the episode to what the start to the finish. So, we talk about your guys' characters in the show, but for people that haven't seen, Rob, can you give us like a non-spoiler synopsis about your character?
My character, McNabb, has an unfortunate experience of losing his daughter to some unnatural experiences, and now he's taking it upon himself to let everyone know that is isolated with him, about the mystery that could come upon them also. So
Mhm.
he's trying to
Well,
save the world, basically.
and that's the thing, like the synopsis of the show for those of you that haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. Go and check it out now. The last episode is dropping tomorrow, so make sure you guys are getting caught up before that, because it's about a group of people that got to come together to face this mysterious threat on a farm in rural Georgia. And I'm trying so hard to keep the spoiler for you guys because this is something you want to go into blind. So if you're like Ken, you're being extremely vague. There's a very good reason why I am being extremely vague, and I'll paint a blue line and see what happens to you if you cross that blue line. So,
Right.
Jackson, we're talking about Teacup and the experiences there, but what was your experience like on set for Teacup?
On set was amazing. It was my first time filming in Atlanta, and we were for those scenes in the basement. Those were all my scenes with Scott were in that basement, so that was kind of a trip. Just kind of day after day, you're in that small room, and those scenes were really intense. So those were fun though. Working with Scott was amazing. He's such he just loves it, and he gets really into it, and it's great working off of that energy. And then all the stuff with Rob, man, that was such an adventure. We and working with John Himes, our director, it felt like because it's like a bottleneck episode, it felt like we were making our own little separate movie that kind of exists in that world. And yeah, I just had a blast. This was a really special job for me.
And I'm so glad that you guys got the experience to do this. And like I said, with you, Rob, you've been a part of Stranger Things. Like I said, you had a huge scene stealing moment in the film Smile. What was it like to you to come back to a horror TV show again?
Ken, I didn't even approach it as if it was horror. I really approached it as these real life people playing high stakes moments in their lives. And it was just like playing high level tennis, man. We have, Travis, Scott, Emily, Yvonne, Boris, Kathy, Luciano, Caleb. I mean, we had just a very passionate group of people that came together to tell this story. So it was really like the tennis open.
Mhm. Well, and this has gotten rave reviews, even from the king of horror, Stephen King himself. So, Jackson, when you're hearing about all the positive reviews that are going on with Teacup, and like I said, this came out of nowhere. It went from nobody talking about this to it's coming out and it's the biggest thing of the end of fall. So, what's it like for you to get such positive reactions to Teacup so far?
Man, well, that's always the dream. It's always the hope that, you pour your heart into this stuff and you give it your all and you hope that um, people receive it well and people watch and people love it. And that's why we do this. And I think for me, I always knew that it was gonna be received well because I just reading these episodes that Ian did such an amazing job and it's so special. And I as soon as we wrapped, I just could not wait for it to come out and people to see it. I haven't been this excited about something in a while.
And it makes a lot of sense for this to come out, like I said, right in the perfect time of year, too. Because now even the people that aren't too much into the horror, the thriller stuff, they're watching it with their families for Halloween. And it's really making a huge, huge impact on the horror genre, too. So, one last question for you, Rob. You've been a part of Stranger Things. You've been now a part, like I said, of Teacup. Now, with these experiences, do you prefer to do horror, or earlier you said you didn't look at this as horror? Is this something that you like to do, or are you just going to take what best script you can have available?
Man, I like participating in good quality content. You know what I mean? Whether it be dramedy, whether it be horror. But Ken, I just like being a part of quality material. You know what I mean? I'm thankful that people entrust me with these characters. And when they do, man, I approach each one like it's my first and my last.
Awesome. So, like I said, I got one last question for you both on Sledgehammer Horror. The big thing we do is my first horror movie, where we talk to people about the first horror movie they watched and what got them started in the genre. So, Jackson, do you remember what the first horror movie you ever watched was?
Oh goodness, no, but I for a long time, I could not do horror. I was a total wimp about it. Because for me, I was not one of those people that could watch a horror movie and laugh at it or, I would turn it off and it would live with me. It would stick with me. And I remember going to the movie theater with my family when I was a kid and there was a horror trailer that played and I couldn't sleep for weeks. And so now being a part of the genre a bit more, I can handle them, and I have so much love and respect for the genre, but I'm one of those scaredy cats for sure.
No, man, I love it. I dig it. What about you, Rob? Do you remember what the first horror movie you watched was?
Man, it was probably Altered States.
Oh, that's a deep
Yeah,
cut too.
right, right. I took it back, man. I was a little kid. I had uncles that was older than me and they were into stuff like that. So Altered States was probably my first experience of horror,
That's awesome. And
of being
both of
taken
you
by.
gentlemen, thank you so much for the time to take out and come and talk to me today. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. I'm so glad at how good Teacup's doing, and you guys absolutely crushed it. So,
Thank
everybody else, if you haven't checked it out already, please go and check out Teacup. It is streaming on Peacock. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.